Some wardrobes feel dated the moment a trend passes. Carolyn Bessette-Kennedy's never did. She built her style on proportion, fabric, and repetition, returning to the same silhouettes until they became unmistakably hers. What makes it even more compelling is this: many of the exact pieces she wore are still available today. In this video, I'm sharing 20 things Carolyn Bessette-Kennedy owned that you can still buy. From her Hermes bags, to her Levi's jeans, to the lipstick shade that defined her 90s beauty look. And yes, I've linked everything I could find in the description below, organized in the order they appeared in this video, so you can explore the exact pieces or their closest modern equivalents. Let's begin with the investment pieces that formed the core of her wardrobe.
I think it's sort of fabulous. I hope they're all sitting with me. It's cool, honey. Don't worry about it.
Hermes Birkin 40. If we're talking about Carolyn Bessette-Kennedy's wardrobe, we have to begin with her Hermes Birkin, specifically the Birkin 40 in black and sand. The Birkin was introduced by Hermes in 1984, following a chance meeting between actress Jane Birkin and then artistic director Jean-Louis Dumas on a flight from Paris to London. The result was a structured leather carry-all designed for daily life, spacious, practical, and discreetly luxurious. By the mid-1990s, when Carolyn was photographed repeatedly in New York carrying the Birkin 40, the bag had already established status within fashion circles. Though it had not yet reached the cultural saturation it would gain in the early 2000s. She gravitated toward the 40-centimeter size, the larger version, most often in black box leather and occasionally in a muted sand tone. The scale was intentional. It balanced her long wool coats, straight-leg denim, and minimalist tailoring. It reinforced proportion and continuity within her wardrobe. At the time, Hermes production remained deliberately controlled. The Birkin was never mass-produced. An acquisition required established boutique relationships even then. That structure of exclusivity aligned naturally with Carolyn's preference for investment pieces, selected carefully and worn repeatedly. Vogue France has cited the Birkin 40 as a defining model in her wardrobe. Archival photography from 1995 through 1999 shows the bag integrated into her daily uniform, present in motion, in transit, in ordinary moments. The Birkin 40 remains in production today. Boutique access is selective, and vintage 1990s box leather examples are especially sought after on the resale market. Hermes Kelly. Following the Birkin, another Hermes silhouette associated with Carolyn Bessette-Kennedy is the Kelly, specifically the Kelly 28 in black. The Kelly predates the Birkin by decades. Originally introduced in the 1930s as the Sac à Dépêche, it was renamed in 1956 after Princess Grace Kelly was photographed using the bag to shield her pregnancy from the press. The image circulated globally, and the association became permanent. By the 1990s, the Kelly had already cemented its place as one of Hermes's most structurally refined designs. The sellier construction, which Carolyn favored, is defined by its rigid outer stitching and sharply defined edges. Unlike the more relaxed retourné version, the sellier maintains a crisp architectural shape. The 28-centimeter size is balanced and controlled, neither oversized nor miniature. In black box leather, the Kelly 28 integrated easily into Carolyn's wardrobe. Archival photographs show her carrying it in structured daytime settings, as well as at more formal events, where its architectural shape complemented her evening minimalism. Hermes continues to produce the Kelly 28 today in limited quantities. If you're enjoying this level of detail and research, make sure you're subscribed for weekly explorations of fashion history, cultural style, and the stories behind iconic figures. You can also click Join to support this channel and gain access to members-only content and exclusive perks. Now, let's continue. The Prada tote, most closely associated with Carolyn, was originally released in 1995 as part of Prada's structured leather handbag line in high-gloss patent leather. During this period, Carolyn was working at Calvin Klein, where she had risen to director of publicity. She remained in that role through her 1996 marriage to John F. Kennedy Jr., stepping away from the company shortly afterward as media attention intensified. One of the most widely circulated images of her carrying this bag was taken shortly after the wedding, when she and John returned to New York and were photographed outside their Tribeca apartment. In that moment, newly married and under heightened scrutiny, she carried the structured black Prada tote with composure. The image became emblematic of a new chapter of her life. The patent finish gave the leather a reflective, glass-like surface that caught flash photography and street light, adding sharpness to otherwise minimal outfits. Its crisp structure and absence of overt branding, aligned with the broader 1990s, moved towards subtlety and precision over visible logos. In 2022, Prada formally revived the design from its archive and introduced it as the re-edition 1995. The updated version remains faithful to the original proportions and high-gloss finish and is currently in production through Prada boutiques and selected retailers. Cartier tank, Française. Another piece visible in Carolyn Bessette-Kennedy's wardrobe was a Cartier tank, specifically an 18-karat yellow-gold tank Française, which she purchased in 1996. The original tank was designed by Louis Cartier in 1917 and released in 1919. In 1996, Cartier introduced the tank Française, a modern evolution featuring an integrated metal bracelet while retaining the rectangular dial and Roman numerals of the original design. That same year, Carolyn purchased her tank Française at the Cartier Fifth Avenue mansion in New York and attended the brand's official presentation in Geneva. Contrary to a persistent myth, she did not wear the 1962 Tank Louis that belonged to Jackie Kennedy Onassis, nor was her watch a gift from John F. Kennedy Jr. The speculation was dispelled in 2017 when Jackie's watch was auctioned at Christie's and later purchased by Kim Kardashian. Photographs from the late 1990s show Carolyn wearing the Tank Française consistently in both daytime and formal settings. Cartier continues to produce the Tank Française today, alongside other tank models, with the core design language unchanged from its early 20th century origins. Manolo Blahnik Carolyne slingbacks. Among the footwear most closely associated with Carolyn were the Manolo Blahnik Carolyne slingbacks. Introduced in the 1990s, the Carolyn featured a pointed toe, low heel, and slender slingback strap. The heel height, typically around 50 millimeters, allowed for stability while preserving elegance. The design remains in production today and continues to be offered in seasonal materials and colors. Manolo Blahnik Callamu Mules. Carolyn was also photographed wearing Manolo Blahnik's Callamu mule, a low kitten heel slide that became emblematic of late 1990s dressing. The mule re-emerged as a defining silhouette, worn by editors, stylists, and downtown professionals who favored streamlined dressing. The style is still available through Manolo Blahnik boutiques. Selima Optique, Aldo sunglasses. Carolyn Bessette wore small oval sunglasses from Selima Optique, most notably the Aldo frame. The Aldo features compact, slightly elongated lenses with a narrow profile that sits low across the bridge of the nose, a defining 90s proportion. She wore the style in both black and tortoiseshell. The tortoiseshell introduced subtle warmth, while the darker pairs created a sharper outline. The lenses were typically deep and opaque, rather than gradient. Selima Optique was founded in New York in 1993 by Selima Salon, and the Aldo frame remains in production today, available through Selima boutiques and online. Its smaller scale distinguished it from the oversized sunglasses of earlier decades, and became part of her consistent visual vocabulary.
Please don't get so close to me.
Levi's 517 bootcut jeans. Carolyn Bessette-Kennedy repeatedly wore Levi's 517 bootcut jeans. The 517 was originally introduced by Levi Strauss and Company in 1969 as a slim bootcut. Unlike wide flares of the 1970s, the 517 maintained a controlled line, making it adaptable beyond its Western roots. By the 1990s, the 517 had become a quiet staple, fitted without excess fabric, structured but not rigid. Carolyn wore them frequently in medium and darker washes, often with simple knitwear, button-down shirts, or tailored outer layers. The slight flare balanced footwear choices like kitten heels and slingbacks, allowing the hem to fall cleanly without pooling. Levi's continues to produce the 517 today in multiple washes. The presence of Levi's within her wardrobe underscored something consistent throughout her style: repetition, practicality, and an American foundation within a broader fashion framework. Carolyn also carried the L.L.Bean boat and tote in the extra-large size. Originally introduced in 1944 as the ice carrier, the canvas bag was designed to transport blocks of ice and withstand significant weight. Its heavy-duty cotton canvas, reinforced base, and double-stitch seams made it durable rather than decorative. By the 1990s, the boat and tote had become a New England staple: practical, unbranded, and recognizable. The bag appeared in neutral canvas with contrasting trim. It functioned as a carry-all suited for travel and time spent outside the city. L.L.Bean still produces the boat and tote in multiple sizes today, including the extra-large model, with options for monogramming and custom trim. Comme des Garçons pouch. Carolyn was photographed carrying a Comme des Garçons leather pouch, not just as an internal wallet, but as a handbag in its own right. At one event, she paired a minimalist leather zip pouch with a Yohji Yamamoto top, using the compact accessory as her primary evening bag. The choice was deliberate. Rather than opting for a traditional clutch, she carried a small zip pouch, typically associated with everyday utility. Founded in 1969 by Rei Kawakubo, Comme des Garçons became internationally known for its conceptual approach to fashion. Its leather goods line, simple zip pouches in smooth leather, gained a following among editors and insiders during the 1990s. Using a pouch as an evening handbag reflected familiarity with fashion beyond conventional codes. It was understated, scaled down, and free of overt branding. Comme des Garçons continues to produce leather zip pouches today, including styles closely aligned with those available in the 1990s. Tortoiseshell Headband by Charles Wahba. Carolyn Bessette frequently wore a flat tortoiseshell headband designed by Charles Wahba and sold at C.O. Bigelow in New York. C.O. Bigelow, founded in 1838, is one of the oldest apothecaries in the United States. In the 1990s, it became known not only for skincare and grooming products, but also for curated accessories, including Wahba's structured headbands. The headband she wore was slim, rigid, and slightly squared at the edges, sitting flat against the crown of the head rather than arcing high. The tortoiseshell finish added subtle dimension. Photographs from the mid to late 1990s show her wearing the Wahba headband repeatedly, often with pulled-back hair, minimal makeup, and streamlined clothing. It became one of the most recognizable small details in her appearance. The Charles Wahba headband is still sold at C.O. Bigelow today, including the tortoiseshell version closely associated with her. Face Stockholm Cranberry Veil Lipstick. Among the beauty products associated with Carolyn Bessette-Kennedy was Face Stockholm's Cranberry Veil lipstick. Founded in Sweden in 1982 by Gun Nowak, Face Stockholm expanded internationally in the 1990s and became known for highly pigmented, yet refined shades. Cranberry Veil was a berry-toned red, saturated without appearing heavy. The shade aligned with Carolyn's preference for a defined lip that remained controlled rather than glossy. It introduced color without overpowering the face. Cranberry Veil is available for purchase today. MAC's Spice Lip Pencil was part of Carolyn's makeup rotation. Launched by MAC in the 1980s, Spice became one of the decade's defining neutral liners, a warm brown used to outline the lips before lipstick application. On Carolyn, it created a defined edge that kept berry tones precise and controlled. Spice remains in MAC's permanent collection today. Bobbi Brown Ruby Lip Color. Carolyn was known to favor a ruby-toned lip, most notably Bobbi Brown's original Ruby shade in the 1990s. Bobbi Brown founded her brand in 1991 with a focus on natural, wearable tones, and Ruby became one of the deeper reds within that lineup. Rich, saturated, and blue-based, without appearing theatrical. The original ruby stain she wore is no longer in production. Today, Bobbi Brown's crushed lip color in Ruby is considered the closest modern equivalent, offering a similar depth of tone with a softer finish. Bobbi Brown continues to produce the crushed lip formula, making a comparable shade available through boutiques and retailers. MAC Studio Fix Powder Plus Foundation. MAC Studio Fix Powder Plus Foundation was a staple of 1990s makeup kits, combining foundation and powder in a single compact. Introduced by MAC as part of its professional line, Studio Fix became widely used for its matte finish and buildable coverage. The formula offered a controlled surface without visible shine. Studio Fix remains part of MAC's core product lineup today, available in an expanded shade range through MAC stores and authorized retailers.
Bobbi Brown Eyeshadow in the shade Bone. Carolyn Bessette-Kennedy was known for keeping her eye makeup fresh and luminous, favoring soft beige tones that enhanced her features without visible shimmer. Her look reflected the understated aesthetic she maintained throughout the 1990s, polished, natural, and effortless. She wore the shade Bone, a matte pale yellow that brightened the eyelid while remaining subtle in photographs and in person. It added light without sparkle and definition without heaviness, exactly the kind of quiet enhancement that became a part of her signature. Today, Bobbi Brown's Longwear Cream Eyeshadow Stick remains the #1 eyeshadow stick in the U.S., with the shade Bone still available, preserving the same soft, neutral brightness associated with her 1990s beauty aesthetic.
Kiehl's Crème with Silk Groom. Throughout the 1990s, Carolyn wore her hair smooth and controlled, sometimes center-parted, sometimes slightly off-center, typically styled straight with a natural finish. Kiehl's Crème with Silk Groom, introduced in the 1970s, is a lightweight conditioning cream designed to reduce frizz and add subtle sheen without stiffness. The formula relies on silk powders and conditioning agents. The product was commonly used to achieve a polished texture that didn't read as heavily styled. Crème with Silk Groom remains in production.
It was very exciting, wonderful evening.
Yeah, what was your highlight? What was the highlight for you?
The entire evening was spectacular. There's no highlight.
Philip Kingsley Moisture Balancing Shampoo and Conditioner. Carolyn Bessette used Philip Kingsley's Moisture Balancing Shampoo and Conditioner as part of her hair care routine. Philip Kingsley, a London-based trichologist, developed his formulas beginning in the 1950s with an emphasis on scalp health and long-term condition. The moisture balancing range was designed to hydrate without weighing hair down, particularly suited to straight, fine to medium textures. The formulas supported a smooth finish while maintaining natural movement, aligning with the polished but understated way she wore her hair. The moisture balancing shampoo and conditioner can be purchased from Philip Kingsley's retailers today. Abdul Karim Egyptian Musk Oil. Carolyn Bessette-Kennedy wore Egyptian musk oil sourced from Abdul Karim Essential Oils. Egyptian musk has circulated in American fragrance culture since the 1970s, typically sold in small glass vials through apothecaries and specialty oil shops. The scent is warm, softly sweet, and worn close to the skin, built around musk accords rather than pronounced floral or citrus notes. Abdul Karim became one of the better-known sources for Egyptian musk in New York, offering concentrated oil formulations applied directly to pulse points. The original Abdul Karim Egyptian musk oil is no longer produced, but bottles continue to circulate on the secondhand market. Comparable Egyptian musk oils remain available today through specialty fragrance retailers. Janet Sarton's Gentle Cleansing Soap. Carolyn Bessette used Janet Sarton's Gentle Cleansing Soap, formulated for normal to oily and combination skin. Janet Sarton, a New York-based esthetician, developed her skincare line around clinic-style formulations focused on balance and clarity rather than fragrance or trend-driven packaging. Her products were distributed through dermatology offices, spas, and specialty retailers during the 1990s. The Gentle Cleansing Soap was designed to remove excess oil and surface buildup while maintaining the skin's equilibrium, leaving a clean, matte finish without heaviness. Thank you so much for watching. Tell me which item or items you would like to try. You'll find all of the links in the description below, organized in the order they appeared in this video. If you appreciated this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and become a channel member for exclusive content. See you in the next video.